Hi, this is Carrie Brownstein.
This is DJ Premier.
This is Darren Aronofsky.
You got the RZA right here.
Rose McGowan.
Radiohead.
Aisha Tyler.
Tribe Called Quest.
Fred Armisen.
Prince Paul.
Javier Munoz. Seth Meyers.
Frankie Cosmos.
Flying Lotus.
Hi, we're Chaim, and you're listening to the Talkhouse Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Talkhouse Podcast. I'm Josh Modell. On this week's episode, we've got a couple of old friends who've both been trying new things lately. Hannibal Buress and Kristian Mercado. Buress just celebrated his 40th birthday, which means he spent more than half his life making people laugh for a living. He started out doing stand-up in his hometown of Chicago, winning audiences small and then eventually very large by telling pointed jokes with a sort of super laid-back style. He briefly wrote for Saturday Night Live and 30 Rock, and you've almost certainly seen him on The Eric Andre Show or Broad City or maybe one of his many stand-up specials. In the past few years, though, Buress has turned his attention to music, releasing a bunch of tracks under the name Eshu Tune. Though rumors of his retirement from comedy seem to be exaggerated, he talks about that here, he is taking music seriously. Or maybe seriously isn't exactly the right word, but it's his focus. Check out a little bit of the Eshu Tune song Knee Brace right here.
Hit it from the back of my knee brace on. The Velcro part, keep catching the thong. Put it off once, then left it alone. Hit the dance floor, two-step to the song. Hit it from the back of my knee brace on. The Velcro part, keep catching the thong. Put it off once, then left it alone. Hit the dance floor, two-step to the song. Darty acting all bum fuzzled. Everything gets cattywampus, I'm feeling trouble. Allow me to bloviate, yes, I'm talking double. I just looked up weird words, use a snollyguster, babble monster. Why you out here causing problems or walking Donnybrook? I yell out.
The other side of this chat, Kristian Mercado is best known as a filmmaker. He's made music videos and directed stand-up specials for Michael Che, Taylor Tomlinson, and Ilana Glazer, among other people, and of course, Hannibal Buress, with whom he worked on the weird and wonderful Miami Nights. Mercado is about to take the biggest jump a director can. He just directed his first feature film called If You Were the Last, which will have its world premiere at this year's South by Southwest Festival in Austin. I haven't seen it, but it stars Anthony Mackie, and it's a sci-fi love story, so I'm in. Mercado has also started dabbling in stand-up comedy, inspired by the many comics he's worked with over the years, including, of course, Hannibal. These two chat about how they work, and Buress drops the news that he's working on a feature-length script of his own, which Mercado can't wait to hear more about. Buress also quizzes Mercado on the most important people on a film set, like a gaffer. And Mercado talks about the joys of experiencing the Sundance Film Festival under the influence of psychedelics. Enjoy.
Yo, what's good, Hannibal? The studio looks nice, man.
Yeah, man, got it set up differently. TK, engineer, been helping out and getting it like professional to engineer's standards, which involves a lot of different, downloading all these sounds and plugins. It's a lot of different stuff in here.
It looks very creator friendly, like
it is. Hey, once all this together, that's when we made this. I Lift Weights track is once the.
Is that the new track? Did you just make it?
Yeah, we just made that Sunday.
Oh, hell yeah. I gotta listen to it. Where do you kind of come up with the songs? How do you come up with them? Because you kind of they're kind of all over the place a little bit, but in the best way possible,
With Veneers, I was in Hawaii and I got up and I decided it was a day I wanted to create more than I consume, which is not most days I end up doing that. I wish if I could actually stick to that, it would be insane. I would make so much stuff. But what if I made one thing for each thing I watched? I would be one of the most prolific people in the world. Or I would have to not watch as much stuff.
Yeah.
Either way, it would still be a good ratio. Even if you only watched one thing or 2-3 things a day, you cut it down to that and you just tried to make things of quality for that. Whatever. So this particular day I saw was a thumbnail for a video for Adam 22, No Jumper.
Oh yeah.
And it was a video, just a thumbnail of him talking about his hairpiece that he got, right? And I guess he used to be bald and he got a hairpiece and he was like Adam 22. And I didn't click on it, but it just made me think about just cosmetic shit I had, which was my veneers. And I hadn't talked about it. I think I alluded to it in stand-up, but just briefly, I just said TV teeth or something like that.
Yeah.
But I never had talked about it in depth or through music. And so that's another cool thing with the music, has been able to take things or stories I've discussed a little bit or might have discussed in stand-up or maybe talked about something on a podcast and then reformatting it into a song.
Mm.
So there's a lot of source material to work with. So it just made me think, I hadn't talked about veneers, and that'd be a fun subject for a song.
I love that song. Doing the music video was a lot of fun too. Like, it was kind of wild. It's cool too, like, just like in general, to like be able to like experiment or like remix like a format or like remix something. Like, I feel like I do that all the time too, where I'll be like, oh yeah, like I'm really interested in this thing, but like what if I remixed it and made it something else or found something else to talk about?
It's so many different formats and mediums that, the ideas can be flipped anyway.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like you got the veneers because you were like a car crash too, right?
Yeah, I had a chip on there from the car crash. I had a gap already, and then the car crash chipped it.
Yeah,
and then,
okay.
Yeah, so it was a mixture of the original look and then them being a little messed up.
Word. I'm Invisaligning right now, like straight
Yeah.
up. Been painful as hell.
What does that do?
It's kind of like invisible braces, basically.
Mhm.
They're like little plastic grills that use like little by little, like shifts your teeth around, you know?
Yeah.
So like, have you always wanted to do music? I feel like I know the answer to that, but I'm just asking.
I recorded some songs with my friend Dave, I think early college. So maybe on a college break before I start. No, was I still in high school? I think I was still in high school, maybe. And I recorded some goofy songs.
Yeah.
Once I started doing comedy, for some reason, I just said, oh, I'm a comedian now. And that's it. Even though there was more than enough time to pursue music alongside it. You know what I mean? I became immediately booked and busy with comedy when I was 19 and 20 years old. And I just hyper focused on it and studied as much as I could and did as many shows as I could and just tried to do everything in my power then to support that feeling and that chase that I had going on.
People like associate you with one thing and then you try something else, because like I kind of experienced a version of this like recently where like I'm mostly a director, right? Like I'm mostly known as a director, but I direct all over the like spectrum of directing, right? Like I'll do like animation, I'll do like a music video, I'll do like, like we've worked together. We did a comedy special. I've done a lot of comedy specials. And at some point I kind of was like, man, I started being so around comedy, and honestly through you, I really have fallen in love with it a lot, and like really respect the medium. And I was like, shit, should I try this thing? And like, it was kind of like, it's really weird to start something new or like, but even if you've been around it a lot, where it's like, fuck, like, when do you just jump in, because even I feel like you've been around like a lot of prolific musicians, like Thundercat and Danny Brown and like Fly Low and all them, so that's like kind of a wave of music too, you know what I'm saying? How does it feel to kind of like jump between the two? Or
it's been exciting, man. Last year is the first year where the majority of my shows were music shows.
Yeah.
And since, and we're going back to 2002 at the beginning of my live performance career. So that was wild because it made everything kind of feel exciting and special. I think my first shows were in March or something at South by Southwest. And then I had some comedy shows, but I would turn them into music shows and have a band with me.
I love that.
I would get overwhelmed a lot. Just the feeling of this is completely different than what I've been doing. Because after a while with the comedy, I would add stuff to my shows to try to make it fresh. But, you can become a little numb to it a little bit after you're doing theaters for a while, and it's repetitive, easy to not appreciate it and for it to not be as exciting. And then I think jumping back after pandemic, I didn't feel like going back into stand-up and grinding it out in front of folks. But I think I overestimated the work it would take me to get back into stand-up shape. In my mind, I put it as this grueling 2 months of me bombing relentlessly in front of audiences. When the real reality of it, when I started doing stand-up again, it took me one rough show, and that show wasn't even that bad. And then after that, it was like, oh, I got this figured out again. So that felt good to know that I could get back into it. I definitely told some folks I was retired from stand-up and shit, where I was I didn't see myself going back into it. But now I kind of have to, because this music shit is expensive. His music game is expensive. And so I have to do stand-up until my rap career pops off. But it's fun to do it with that in mind, though, also. And like doing comedy with focus. This is to pay for the veneers video or part of it. This is to do this. I'm doing this and so it's now in day job mode, which gives, I think, the show some energy and edge. You know?
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the opposite spectrum of that, where like I'm like, oh yeah, like I direct and like I got paid for that,
Yeah.
you know. And then when I do a comedy show, which is I haven't done a lot of it anyway, but like the times you do it, it's like, oh yeah, you got $10. It's like, but those $10 feel really earned, you know what I mean? Similar to what you were saying about like the music thing, like when you start doing something new, it comes with this new energy and like it makes you feel like almost alive again in a weird way.
Definitely.
And then like when I started doing like random little stand-up shows, I had that like experience too, where I was like, oh shit, feels like a vibe.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, man. I mean, it's a new feeling for me. These are like doing music and doing my shows with the production that I like to have. Has been the first time I've lost money on shows.
Yeah.
Because comedy's so low overhead that you just show up, you sell tickets.
Yep.
And unless you're booking a bunch of other people or doing something, it's pretty tough to lose money on a comedy show. And but music, I lost money on maybe like at least 7 shows. Like when I did the Isola sessions, because I had band and more moving pieces, camera guy, and then a small venue.
That happens in film as well. Like in filmmaking, like sometimes when you're starting out, you're kind of like making the projects yourself, right? Like you're making a short and then kind of like you carry the responsibility of that budget almost, you know? And sometimes if it goes over, it's coming out of your pocket because you're the person kind of like putting it together. So like it's a weird thing that happens where you have to like scramble and like kind of figure it out, and sometimes ends up being really good because you end up working with your friends and then you start discovering stuff. Like even like, you know, me and Reuter, my editor, like when we worked together, sometimes we would work on projects just kind of like mad scrappy, like where it would be like, oh, is there like even a budget here? Like, but it was kind of like exciting sometimes to do that just because it almost feels like when you don't have like a fiscal like responsibility to some like entity that might not even have like good taste or whatever, you know, like you're allowed to kind of just create from a pure place, you know?
Yeah, it's nice to just do your own thing. Is why I haven't, and I don't really desire to hitch that much right now. I don't really feel like dealing with y'all in that way.
Yeah. Finding the right collaborators to create with is always kind of like a fucking journey. And my approach has always been like, yes, be like as earnest and genuine about your impulse, you know, as possible. And then like I feel like that just guides me. Like it's like, oh, that sounds cool. I would love to do that. And like I almost figure it out like after the fact sometimes. Like, and what I mean by that is almost like it's like nice to just jump in when you really genuinely want to jump into something, and then like let all the other pieces kind of come together as you go.
How was working on your first feature?
Bro, that was like semi-religious experience for me. You've known me a long time, so you know how serious. You've seen me cry about film shit. You've seen me like go through it. It's like something I've been like wanting to do my whole life, and like just being able, and it's like one of the hardest art forms to do, you know, because of the scale of it, you know, like it's like the biggest canvas, right? It was fucking special, man. It really was. Like I can't even lie. Like I shot for 30 days, as long as I've ever shot before.
What was the budget?
8 million. 8 million.
Word.
Pretty good for like it's called the tier one film. It's the proper term, but it's still considered indie, which is crazy to think about, right?
You know how to get a lot out of a budget though.
I pulled out all the tricks for the film for sure. And you certainly know I have a lot of tricks.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah. Man, it was exciting though. It was like I felt at home. That's what it was the most. This is like maybe it's like it's real personal to say that, but like I feel like the world is chaotic, you know, like it's so like hard to like navigate the world, and like I almost feel like on set I always feel like more comfortable because like I almost feel like it's like I understand like what a set should have, or like where like people know the expectations, or like there's like kind of like an order to it, even if it's chaotic order.
That's how I feel about the studio. I think it's because it's less life, and it's just like right now it's, you know, the sound is treated in here.
Yeah.
So I don't hear the outside noise. So it'll be time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just sit, listen to music or be on here or be in it's a whole different world. And just, knowing that anything can kind of happen though too, creatively. As far as putting together the team on a film, I know you got your different cinematographers that you've worked with before.
Yeah.
With some project, is there an interview process, or are you just? What's the interview process like when you picking a cinematographer?
You're kind of trying to decide who's like going to be your partner. Like, especially for a movie, everyone you kind of work with, it's like long haul, like you're going to have to figure it out together the whole time. I had a lot of options for cinematographers, which was cool because the script was really beloved and like people wanted to work on the film. And my treatment for it was really clear. Like I think everyone who saw it understood the vision of the film, which was kind of like very like, this is had a vibe. Like, it's just like a very specific tone to it. I would just show them the treatment and then they would be like, holy shit, amazing script, amazing visual language of this treatment and this director's vision for it. I would like have like really earnest conversations with the cinematographers, knowing what I was trying to accomplish. Like, the cinematographer I got is this dude, Alex Disanoff, which is, here's the crazy part. All right. So here's the crazy part about this. This guy literally shot Lord of the Rings, the TV series, which is the biggest budgeted television show in history. But, we had a really like strong conversation where I was like, hey, like, I think you're like the person, he is the person that had to come in to make this film possible. And I was really honest with him about that. I was like, I know that you work on like these enormous projects, but this is our like little baby, right? I put a lot of love into this thing. Like I spent like, I don't know, like maybe 2 years developing it and like working it out and pitching it and trying to get it up off the ground. And it took a lot of my life, and like really as a first time feature, really like it's not even just that like piece of your life. It's almost like everything that came before like kind of gets crashed into that moment, And Alex, he just knew how to kind of get to that place that we were looking for. But he was also kind of like a recent like father, like he just had a baby. And I think I liked that about him because there was the idea of like, oh, you're taking care of someone new and you're also working on a movie, and like those feelings and all these new experiences that you're having as a cinematographer are gonna like, because our movie's a lot about love, So I kind of like really focused a lot about like having the crew members and like the people really understand like we're making something that's like a love letter to like the audience,
Word.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
What was the toughest day on set?
Oh wow. Oh man, there was a lot of tough days, honestly. There was a day where I kind of like had to decide to like flip some stuff in the production where I was like, I'm gonna do something new, and like I had to like move around a lot of pieces, but it was the right decision to make, like you have to make those decisions sometimes, like and I did it early enough in the production where it was possible to kind of pivot because I really wanted the visual language to be very specific of the film.
You mean you did a rewrite?
The script was really good, so I didn't have to do much of that, but I would rewrite based on like how do we make the scene more like work for us, or like, and because of the comedy vibes that I've been around, super blessed to you for that too, by the way. Like that shit has given me so much. I feel like I learned how to riff a lot, like just on set, and that's a powerful way to make a movie. Like if you have the ability to riff on a set, like, and like kind of like almost rewrite a scene just with your words, in the moment, just from like the spontaneity of a comedic moment. It's kind of magical, and it's something that like a few directors do really well. Like Judd Apatow does that, Adam McKay, so like, and they come from comedy. So there's like something now that I have that I can always play with. My hope is at some point where I can kind of like have maybe like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 comics just hanging on set, just watching shit and like, riffing, and maybe I could just add those riffs into the movie or not, but we'll see.
That's exciting to hear about the writing on set. I know that it's a part of filmmaking, but I'm in the process of writing the film, and so it's nice to think about that going ahead about the directing.
Oh, super cool. I mean, you don't have to tell us any like about the script if it's too early, but I'm just so curious what a movie that you would like kind of have like a lot of say in would be. You know what I mean? You have a large body of film work, but you're like kind of always like a character or something, or like, but I always wanted to see what like you leading a project would be like too.
I don't even think I wouldn't lead acting. I would pure direct and maybe be a background blink if you miss extra.
That's kind of like the beauty of filmmaking though, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be in every position necessarily.
Yeah.
You can kind of just flow.
Yeah. And I would, make some music for it. I think part of is I'm working on a movie to put music to something.
That's amazing. That's so cool. So you should see this movie, right? Called All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. I believe the script for that was only 60 pages, but the movie's like a 90-page film, I feel like a lot of people get caught up with this idea of like, oh, like the format of a screenplay, like even like Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? Like that's the biggest movie of the year right now. And the screenplay says I see in it. And people always say, don't write I see, because it's like a rule in screenwriting not to write that.
Right.
So like, do you feel like the film would be like a musical journey kind of vibe?
It's a horror comedy with characters in music world. But the music, I'm just thinking about the scoring and all of that, and just how between the music I'm making and the music my friends make. I'm excited to just put all the pieces together finally, because it's been something that I've been wanting to do for I actually haven't been trying to do that because the right thing hasn't pushed me towards it.
Yeah.
So it's nice now to kind of, go in and having all, the experience in acting and TV and, putting other things together.
You have the comedy, you have music, you have like, what a set runs like.
Documentary stuff and, so podcasting and bring it all into the film world. So it'll be, be cool. Are you still in Utah?
I'm still in Park City.
How's it going?
It's been fun, man. It's like chaotic as hell. It's a lot of fun though. Like I do enjoy it here. You get a lot of film community here. So like, and it all kind of like crashes at once into each other, So like that energy, I like it. It keeps me active and keeps me like engaged. And it's like ground level. So like you can kind of see like emerging filmmakers and like new people, and I even see people who I've inspired, which is crazy. Right. That's a wild thing to see. Like, oh, what the hell? I just did I help create this little like fame that's kind of emerging?
Definitely, man. Yeah,
I was hanging out a lot in this place called Latinx House. I mean, I jump all over the place. Like, I went to Macro too, and all the other places that like have events and like parties and stuff. But it was cool to see like, oh, wow, like there's new versions of like weird, like Latino filmmakers kind of happening, that they're like, that I'd never seen before, and like seeing them get more embraced, because like for like a while, I feel like I was like alone in that. Like I was like, fuck, this sucks. Like, like, I don't know if anyone knows who, like what I'm trying to do or like, what am I doing? And like what I did hit. All right, and a random executive, I'm not gonna say his name or whatever, straight up gave me some psychedelics or some shit. So there was one day where I was just like tripping, walking around Sundance and Slam Dance, and that day was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like the best day ever.
You saw some movies off of it too and everything?
I would go watch a movie, hang out at a place, and I would have deep conversations. Like I had a crazy conversation about time, of course, as you do, time. But then some people put you onto a book, and in the middle of that, like somebody was talking to me about this book, Atomic Aztec. There's so many people like even investigating like their own stories and like finding like properties or like things to adapt and like, or like even looking at other filmmakers. I really want to see a movie from you, bro. Like I think it's gonna be sick.
I come up with short ideas all the time too. Here's a short idea I have.
Yeah.
But I would need a collaborator from Japan to make it work. So if you see anybody out there, you know how they have the culture in office culture in Japan where the boss makes you have to keep drinking with the boss.
Oh, right. When you go out outside, like to a meeting, outside of a meeting or whatever, like
you just keep drinking.
Yeah.
And then so there's this photo sets where is these guys just laid out in the street in their suits because the train stopped running.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just the story about the first Japanese guy who like, no more. I don't want any more drinks. And then just what happens to his life when he challenges.
That's mad interesting. What if there's like a guy who like you're just like your level of drinking is so high and it's like you've been climbing the corporate ladder and like all your employees are constantly dying or like suffering from liver poisoning.
Tokyo Sundance. What's the Japanese film festival?
They actually have a big one.
South by East Yokonawa Palooza.
Yo, so I was gonna say something that's interesting about the music, like music and film, you know, they kind of do work together. A lot of how I got into film was through music videos and like music, and like I actually listen to a lot of music when I work on films, and I play music on set. And when I write, I listen to like I'll listen to a track on repeat for like hours and hours and just write to it. There's a script that I'm writing right now that called Patty and Pedro, which is about like comedy too and love. And like I listen to songs and I write the songs into the script. Like I'll like this cues in this song.
I was about to ask, are you in post? Are you testing different songs once the song is already locked by the time you're shooting, or does it vary?
I had a crazy playlist when I started the movie, like this one, If You Were the Last. And I think the playlist is pretty sick, like honestly, because I find a lot of obscure music. Like I go to record stores a lot to like try to find music that's not locked into an algorithm, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like we all live in a world where like algorithms like kind of like make everyone's tastes. I like finding things that like, they're off the beaten path.
You have to just put in more effort too, like digging in certain spots. I did Amoeba Records, What's in My Bag. And so I hadn't been in a massive physical media store in a while, and my brain just went crazy. I just kept getting stuff because I was judging it off the cover art. And so it was stuff that is online, but just being there and seeing it differently. And I did this on Twitter one time where I just told everybody to post their Discover Weeklies. And so then it was a thread of everybody's. So then you get to see what the other folks' algorithm is.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, it's some different shit over here, man.
It's actually guided me a lot in life too. Like I'll be like, I'll find a record and it takes me down a crazy rabbit hole of like stories or like weird stuff. And it's kind of like sometimes it's just the artwork, sometimes it's like you hear it, you know, like it's just like it's fun as hell, like and it's like preserving like a weird history, and like I don't know, there's something about it that's just like exhilarating. Music can drive a film a lot of times too, like some sequences, and like Tarantino was really good at that, honestly. Like Tarantino at the time would find like very obscure songs and like attach them to scenes and use them in ways that people didn't expect, you know, so much. And like, or even like the dialogue of some of his films are like famously like in Reservoir Dogs, he's like talking like the opening conversations about Madonna's I'm a Virgin, you know, and like all the guys are just deconstructing a song is pretty much all they're doing. Also like Pulp Fiction has like a lot of scenes that just move forward with music, you know, in like unique and ways. So like music can really like or you know, a more recent example, like it's like Guardians of the Galaxy had like a playlist that it was cool because the playlist not just like plays with the song, like all the soundtrack, but it actually motivates the story. So like when Peter Quill plays a song, and it's the songs that his mom gave him, you know what I'm saying? So like it has like this emotional weight, but at the same time it's cool. It's just like dope songs, you know?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a fun time.
You gonna roll up to my South by premiere? Roll up. It's gonna be fun.
That's on the 13th, right?
They haven't given me a date yet, so I'm waiting. But unless they announced it while we were here, but I'll find out. The minute I get the date, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm excited to go down. This will be my first official
music, right? You know, do like
South by, doing real music showcases and stuff after.
Hell yeah! We can kind of bounce back and forth between like your musical show and then like my movie, and it'll be a lot of fun actually.
It's gonna be a good time, man, out there.
What I think I love the most about South by, that it has like this kind of cross-pollination. Like when I go to like a South by party, you'll be dancing, and then like you're next to like someone who works like astrophysics next to like someone who does music, next to a filmmaker, and it's like, what the hell? This is wild. I don't know where else this conversation could happen.
And everybody dancing different as hell.
Yeah.
In that mind, ain't no singular vibe.
Oh, definitely. There's like awkward, skinny white boy, indie white man thing next to like full on grinding. Bro,
You got to start DJing, man.
that would be fun. I think I'm gonna host like maybe a party or two, like because of the film, so like, or I'll be involved with them. So like, and you know what they did this year in Sundance that was new? There was a Caribbean house, like a Caribbean party. It was the inaugural year, and it was honestly one of the best parties in the whole thing. And it was like, like every like Haitians, Jamaican, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, like they would just like, but it brought in like so many random people too, because like, people are looking for like spaces to kind of like after hours to kind of like congregate, it was just cool to see that for the first time, too, where like, but like also at the same time, it's like, damn, what year is it? 2023? Yeah. Took us a while.
Took a minute.
Oh,
So on a set,
Yeah.
who are 3 figures on a set that are traditionally kind of criminally overlooked or underappreciated?
Underappreciated. The PA.
The PA?
A PA always,
Yep.
yeah. I would say the PA is like crucial because they're kind of your fundamental like building block of a set, like the thing won't move unless you have PAs because they have to kind of like, they're kind of like in a way like kind of the baseline where they have to be like the guys running around to bring like other people together or like to handle these like small tasks that if they added up or accumulated, your set would just be a mess, I think like gaffers are probably not like well known in the same light.
What's the gaffer do?
Gaffer's kind of like your lead, like lighter guy. Like he's like the guy handling the lights hands on and like has the team. And he's kind of like the DP's secondhand person. The DP is definitely like in charge of the look of the film, but like part of that being in charge of the look of the film is like the gaffer is kind of like the person who knows how to manipulate the lights to the DP's needs, So like when you have like a dope gaffer, the lighting difference is really noticeable between gaffers, because I've noticed it so many times, where like, what's crazy? Like for my movie, like the gaffer signed on based on an animated short I did in Nuevo Rico that had a lot of color in it. And you could tell like he was like actually like we were like not worried, but like, there was that feeling of like, are we going to get a gaffer that's going to be like on the level that Alex needs, right? And then this guy is really, really good. His name is Gonzo, and he's like a genius. But just based on this other piece of material that I did, but he was excited because like a lot of movies will almost like have a one set look, and my movie has like a lot of random, not even random, but like more like it's just colorful and like very like explosive and like kind of like it doesn't shy away from like doing like colorful things. So people don't really think about the gaffer too much, but the gaffer, you'll notice a difference.
Gaffer, it don't sound as important as it is. Like that doesn't sound like the person in charge of the lighting of it,
Yeah. It doesn't sound as romantic, I guess.
Yeah, gaffer.
Sets are kind of like, if I'm honest about it, here's I think this is like a secret in a way, and I'm a big proponent of just not gatekeeping and just telling people things like from a real place. But like a set is really kind of like a weird like it's a thing where like high art meets blue collar, like if you're really honest about it. Like I think people focus on the high art a lot more because it's what's facing forward, but sets have a lot of blue collar jobs. So like you're kind of dealing with people who have these like kind of almost construction worker attitudes.
Absolutely.
And like the grip electric department, but people don't, I feel like that's where I think the idea of the pretentious director comes in, because sometimes you get like these leaders that are like kind of like so far removed from a blue collar thing, like that they don't even know how to communicate with those folk, I think part of the reason I like feel very comfortable and fluid on a set is because so much of my life has been like kind of being in two worlds, like where I've seen high end shit, like I've been in that room. but I've also been like, come from the very like humble place. So I always feel comfortable talking blue collar with the folks on a set, and like sometimes almost like prefer it in a way. In my set, I got really cool with the head of the grip department, and it would be like we would just give each other a pound the minute we see each other, like, yo, we're gonna do it. And that elevates the work because now, you know what I'm saying? Like those little things are important on a set. Like you got to appreciate your crew,
Yeah. They could easily just phone that shit in and say, I ain't about to see this motherfucker. This shit is how many more? We got what? 2 more weeks? Let's just get this shit done, man. And so it's good if, they are excited to do the work with you.
What point in the process of the script are you in?
Outlining and just writing, wrote a lot of scene ideas, deciding just the character motivations and a lot of just come up with a lot of funny parts already. Now it just needs to be, next step is maybe one more brainstorming session and then go from like after that start putting a draft together.
You worked in a lot of like writers' rooms and places back in the day, right?
Yeah, Saturday Night Live back in 2009, 2010. That sounds crazy to say.
30 Rock too, no? Like, did you work in 30 Rock?
And 30 Rock, yeah.
Yeah. Did you learn a lot about like the writing process in those rooms? Like, writers' rooms are weird places, aren't they?
I learned a lot about improving stuff and pitching and just trying to beat a joke or beat a line or beat a scenario. And so within a short amount of time that you have to brainstorm, looking at being able to look at something and assess it and say, is this the best version of that idea? And doing that. And so I think it helped that muscle early on be like, okay, is that it? Or is it, can we do better right now? We got a couple hours. Can we as a group? So that part of it, I think Saturday Night Live being there, even though I didn't have much success in the traditional way of getting a bunch of sketches on, it definitely taught me fast production, just putting stuff together quickly, and so in that sense of just getting a crew, getting there, here's the idea, let's do it, and just not being able to do that. 30 Rock helped me, thinking of story a bit and storylines and just sharpening jokes. And I just learned the other side too of production. I was still really green.
Yeah.
And I remember them talking about one actor only giving them a day or two of availability.
Oh, right.
And we only got him for this day. And I remember then, because I hadn't acted at that point, and I was thinking, well, why would he want to give up all of his time? What, he's not giving up all of his time? This is 30 Rock.
Yeah. It's like a miracle to schedule anything, honestly. Talent availability is kind of like its own like process, and it's crazy too. But you have to honestly, you have to be considerate of people's time too, because like you don't know like what they're like, not just even in like their personal lives what's going on, but like what's their schedule like, what's going on with them.
You don't know how many houses this person's gotten, and now they're like, whoa, the water.
I need a water right now. Now.
I got 7 kids.
I definitely need to work on every show possible now.
Let me out of this movie right now so I can get to my game show, motherfucker.
I've been interested in like what the dynamics of the writer's room is and like stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm excited to put a room together for this movie. I'm gonna do the, once we have a draft, I'll do a table read, with folks, and then, rewrite, then get some comics to punch up, like really beat the shit up, make sure the writing is as pristine as can be, and then still, improving on set as we can too.
Hell yeah. Well, I wish you luck on your film journey, man, and your music journey.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, dog. And congratulations to you, man, on all the film work and all the great work, dog. It's been a joy to work with you over the years.
Bro, honestly, you've been a big part of it too, so thank you.
Work.
I'm hoping we'll kind of make something bigger at some point,
Yeah, man. I had that immersive theater idea. I want to do an immersive play.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Catch you later.
Peace, mate.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Talkhouse Podcast, and thanks to Hannibal Buress and Kristian Mercado for chatting. If you liked what you heard, please follow Talkhouse on your favorite podcasting platform and check out all the great stuff we've got going at talkhouse.com. This episode was produced by Myron Kaplan, and the Talkhouse theme is composed and performed by The Range. See you next time.